Welcome to the What's the Difference podcast. My name's Claire.
And I'm Nathan.
And I've got a story to tell you today, which is actually the first story that jumped to mind when we first discussed doing podcast.
Okay.
And so I've been wanting to tell this story for quite a while.
I have a funny feeling I know what this story might be.
Yes.
Okay.
This really hit home for me. I think it's something that we can all put ourselves in the shoes of various people in this story, for better or for worse. So let me tell you, we're going back in time to 2008, which feels like it was about 5 minutes ago, but it's 15 years now?
Can't be 15 years ago.
I know. Yeah.
That means
that's
that
what
I have
the
a
numbers
teenage
say.
child. That's what it means.
Yes. Afraid you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Very much.
And we are in Nashville. In the
We're back in the USA, folks.
Of course we are. Again, without a map.
Yes. The land of the crazy stories. Yeah.
We are in the Marriott Hotel. And I think we've had a Marriott Hotel story before, haven't we?
Maybe we should go with sponsorship next time. I don't think they'd want this sponsorship though.
I was going to say, when you hear this story, they're not going to want to sponsor us.
Okay.
So we are in the Nashville Marriott Hotel, one of the Nashville Marriott hotels. It's next to Vanderbilt University.
All right, yeah.
And in the States, they're very big on their sports, and the university sports. So this is. What are you doing? You're right.
Yep, it's okay. Okay.
So it's a big hotel next to a big university. Lots of sporting things are going on. I'm not a sporty person. I won't go any further into the sport than that.
You're quite safe hands here. Don't mind.
And, just an everyday sort of situation. A guy comes up to reception. He's called Michael Barrett, and he goes up to reception and asks, "Oh, I'm checking in, and I wondered if I could be in the room next to my friend." And she says, the lady on reception, "Oh, who's that?" "My friend's Erin Andrews. Can I be in the room next to her?" And so she looks up on the system, has a look at the room, and first of all says, "Oh, actually, no, there's not a room free next to her." He says, "Oh, okay." He goes up in the lift, and he checks the room number that he's just managed to get from reception, and finds that one of the rooms next to hers is just being cleaned out and will be free shortly. So he goes back down and he says, "Well, actually, this room number, which is next door to her, is about to become free. So can I have that? Can I have that room, please?" "Oh, yeah, absolutely." And pops him in that room.
This all feels pretty reasonable so far.
So this, nothing to worry about as far as the receptionist.
I think I've done similar before. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, when you're traveling groups, work things, all that kind of thing, you say, "I'm here with this person. Can I be next to them?"
Yeah, definitely.
Fast forward to 2009. So the following year. And the lady that we've just been talking about, Erin Andrews, whose room Michael Barrett was put in next to, gets a phone call from a friend and says, "I've just seen you on the internet."
What?
Now, that wasn't that unusual, because Erin Andrews at the time was an ESPN reporter.
Okay, yeah, they're a big sports network.
Big sports network, yeah. So sports TV type reporter. And she reported on sports, and she was on the TV and, fairly well known in sporting circles.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, what do you mean? Well, not doing your normal thing. It's a video of you naked in a hotel room.
Right.
And so she's thinking, what on earth is this? And of course, she goes online and she looks it up herself. And there is a video of her just pottering about in a hotel room, having had a shower. She's just getting dressed on her own. You know, she's on her own in this hotel room. So you just the way you do, you potter about getting dressed before you go and have
Like any
your
human
work day.
being, you mean? Like,
like a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But she's naked and she's getting ready and then she's getting dressed and no idea she was
What?
being watched. And she was absolutely devastated. You can
understandably.
only
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
You
I
can
can, yeah.
only imagine, can't you? And especially
Shocking.
because she's well known.
Mm.
This has become quite a popular
Yes,
video.
for the wrong sort of person, I'm going to guess. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, on the internet. So she just has no idea how this has happened or why she's all over the internet. And eventually tracks it back, works out where it was and when it was, and tracks it back eventually, and works out that it must have been in this hotel at this time. Sorry, I've lost my place.
I know. I'm just like stunned that. I'm guessing where this story's going, but I'm like, even then, I'm like, why would you? How this? Yeah.
So, what we eventually find is that time when Michael Barrett has gone to reception and said, "Oh, can I stay in this hotel room next to my friend?" Not only were they absolutely not friends,
Right.
but it wasn't the only time that he'd done it.
No.
And it turns out that he hadn't even known she was definitely in that hotel on that date until somebody on staff had confirmed to him that she was. So there were lots of
because he'd
little
said
bits along the way.
He'd said, my friend's name is this, and they confirmed
Yeah.
to him that.
So he'd had one conversation and he'd said, "Oh, I'm just checking. Is Erin Andrews staying?" I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
But is Erin Andrews staying in this hotel?
Yes, of course. You weren't there, otherwise this would be a
No,
whole other
wasn't there?
conversation,
No.
wouldn't it?
But knowing that she was going to be reporting on certain sports events where she was likely to be staying, he said, "Can you confirm she's going to be there?" Yeah. And then how did he find out what room she was in? He went to one of the what did you call it? A house phone. So an internal phone.
Yeah.
In the hotel itself, put a call through to reception and said, "I want to speak to Erin Andrews. Can you put me through to her room?" So he doesn't know her room number at this point. But the way the phone worked was that then when the receptionist or operator put him through to her room, flashed up with her room number. So he knows that she's definitely there. He knows what room number she's in. Then he goes back to reception and says, "Can I have a room next to this room number where my friend is staying?"
And obviously, as reception, you're going, well, the number, the name, thus she must know the person.
Yeah. Or even though he's actually got that from the staff in the first place. And that was how he was able to go to the actual floor to find her room and say, "Well, actually, I can see the cleaners are almost finished with this one.
Yeah.
It's just not on the system yet, but I can see they're almost finished." He went back down and he said, This is the one."
I've just got a funny feeling by the end of these podcasts, people will not want to stay in any hotel ever.
Yeah.
I've got a funny feeling. Anyway, moving on quickly.
Oh,
Don't worry.
sorry. I'll
Don't worry,
edit that
folks.
out.
Don't worry, folks. It's right. Claire's not dying.
I'll edit that out. Sorry about that. So he's managed to find out
Yeah.
that she's staying there, what the number is, and he's got himself now in the room next door. Now, being a hotel, the walls aren't the thickest, and you can usually hear what's going on in next door. So he hung out in his room, listening until he heard the shower go on.
Right.
When the shower went on, he went to the door of her room, of Erin Andrews' room.
Right. But the front door.
The front door of her room. Yeah.
Right.
And he replaced the spy hole with his own contraption,
yeah,
which he could film through.
Because it reverses the spy hole, and yeah, I've heard of these. Yeah.
And then when she came out of the shower, he was filming through the spy hole into her room. So that's then when she started, just padding about, getting herself dressed, ready for
all
her
the
work.
normal things you do.
Yeah. And then he got a few minutes of that footage, took the contraption off and went back into his room. He then tried to sell the footage because she's fairly well known.
Yeah.
Tried to sell the footage to the types of websites that buy these things, and he didn't get any. He didn't get any.
To go down that route, but yes,
no,
I guess.
Didn't get any buyers.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So he just uploaded it himself.
What, in his own name?
Through his own account online, he just put it online.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't sell it to a journalist. He just put it up by himself, which I'm not quite sure why. What he would actually get from that, because it looks like he wanted to do it for money. He looked like he wanted to sell it, and then he didn't sell it. He put it online anyway. He didn't try to get any money from her. He didn't hold her to ransom or anything. He just put it online.
Yeah, but the consequences of that just mind-boggling.
So, of course, as we said, Erin Andrews was absolutely devastated by this. She just couldn't believe this, couldn't live it down. She just felt awful. So she quite rightly, in my opinion, she took this to the authorities and took it to the prosecutors.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, you would, wouldn't
you? He was taken to court. So Michael Barrett was taken to court, and he did cry and apologize while he was on the stand, and him and his team explained how terrible it was for him.
Okay. I don't think that's quite how it works, but yeah. No.
He's lost it. This is a quote from his lawyer. Mr. Barrett has lost everything he built throughout his life. He's lost his career, his fiancée, and his life savings. He knows that he brought this on himself. I've not got a lot of sympathy for him.
There's nothing you can really doubt any of those facts at all, is there? It's sort of like...
He hadn't thought that through, obviously, before he did this.
Well, you mentioned before he'd been doing this before. Was he sort of stalking or something? Or is this just because this feels really like... I mean, I'm not experienced with stalkers, but this feels like really stalkerish sort of behaviour.
So it sounds very personal, doesn't it? And eventually we find he has done this, the staying in a hotel room next door to Erin Andrews 3 times.
Whoa.
And he actually took 2 videos. He managed to get a video twice. What? So that does feel like it was very personal. However, we also find, as part of his trial, That there were approximately 16 other women that he victimized in almost precisely the same way that he victimized Erin Andrews.
Okay, so this wasn't really like a one-off sort
No.
of. Okay.
So again, not a little mistake that he's made, and that's why
Yeah.
he's apologizing and crying in court.
Yes.
He's thought this through.
I think this is more about crying because I've got found out rather than.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
The other part of what he'd done, so he wasn't just, you know, filming women like this. He was, I've lost it again. I'm scrolling too fast.
All right. Just take your time.
Okay. So the other thing that he did, he wasn't just the filming.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, there's videos of about 16 other women. He'd been on the internet looking for any and all information that he could.
Oh wow! So he
He
was
he
like
was
searching
looking for
people.
birthdays, home addresses, doing background checks on a whole load of women. So we know about Erin Andrews and approximately 16 others that he's doing this. So absolutely
Wow.
not a one-off, not a little
No.
mistake that he's made.
No, and it's sort of I
But
get
what I
yeah.
go
Go
on.
on, sorry. Go on. No, yeah, I'm a bit speechless with the story because I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
So what he's done is absolutely huge. What
Mm,
really got me was the tiny little mistakes,
yeah,
seemingly tiny little mistakes that the staff at the hotel had made.
yeah,
And he used that to his
mm,
advantage and he
yeah,
added those up and
mm,
built upon them. And he ended up being able to do this
yeah.
um, at least at least
16
two
times.
times. Well,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, at least 16
Times
times.
and twice to
Yeah,
her,
at
yeah, as
least
well.
twice to Erin Andrews, and yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
16
you're right.
ish.
When you think about some of the things, the real simple things is just saying, just not giving out someone's name, not
Yeah.
confirming that someone's staying there.
And I guess with him kind of doing the internet research as well, getting birthdays and home
Mm,
addresses and all that sort of thing,
it's so
again, they're
hard.
just little things, aren't they? They're little
Yeah,
things that would be, you go online and find somebody
yeah,
celebrating their birthday.
hmm,
You can work out
yeah.
exactly what year they were born.
And then the other things we put up, like, oh, look, I'm going to stay at this place today, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to meet my
Yeah.
friends here.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we need to remember is that, I mean, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be that any woman would be afraid or any person would be
No.
afraid of somebody trailing them because sadly it happens to lots of other people, not just women, sadly. But
And yeah,
it's
and like you
just,
say, are people going to be, scared of staying in hotels now? I
yeah,
do hope not. I,
no.
I
And I
would
think there
like
are
to
some
say
practical things that really do
yes.
stop that. I think some of the things is if you are concerned, you speak to staff and make sure they're really clear about those things. You shouldn't have to, but I think most places now they won't give you those details. I remember staying at a hotel probably quite a while back. I've gone there. I had a team at the time, and one of them hadn't turned down to work the next day. I think they must have
Oh,
got. I think they must have carried on drinking afterwards.
yes.
But we said, look, can we get in contact with her? But she was a lone female. They wouldn't give her,
Mm,
even though they knew that she was with our company. They wouldn't give us a name. They wouldn't give us a room number. They'd
mm.
say just we'd tell them what the name is, and they go, right, no problem, we'll call her.
That's good. That is
We'll
good
call
to
that, and
hear.
we'll
Yeah.
call you for you. And if you want, if in when they got to the point where we were getting very very concerned, they said, no problem, you stay here. We'll go and
Yeah.
check.
We'll go and check. That's
Yeah,
good. And
and
she was
that's
okay, was she?
she was fine. She just
Yeah. Hungover.
taking yes, taking a bit too much.
Well, yeah, like you say, I mean, this was 2008,
Mm,
2009. And I think this might have had a bit of an impact as well.
I think
That,
it has lots of impact on lots of hotels.
oh, well, there's a bit more as well. So Erin Andrews took the Nashville Marriott to court
I bet you
as
did.
well.
Yeah.
And she was awarded $55 million in
Oh my
damages.
word. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. That is a lot of money though. That's
It's a lot
that's
of money.
a lot, but do you know, if it means that as a business you take it seriously, then that's what has to be done.
And Marriott's massive, isn't it? I mean,
Is yeah,
that's yeah, perhaps
and that's a fundamental breakdown in your own safeguarding rules and everything else,
yeah,
isn't it? That about that
yeah,
point, and people, and admittedly, you've got somebody who was very convincing, very well prepared, knew the ins and outs of the phone systems, and sort.
yeah, yeah. He'd
But
obviously done his
yeah,
homework.
exactly. But even
Yeah,
then,
he's worked out
he,
how to rig the peepholes to
yeah,
film the video as well,
exactly, yeah,
and do it without being caught.
yeah,
Um, but yes, that
mm,
was what I can really see myself in the shoes of the person
yeah,
working behind the desk,
yeah.
and
And
just oh yeah, yeah,
the person that would have
trying to
done
be
it, they must have been
helpful.
devastated. You would have been
Yeah,
devastated with that person. Absolutely
absolutely.
devastated
Yeah,
because it's built into you in hotels to be the customer always right. You support the customer. It's all about service.
yeah,
But
yeah,
obviously, you've got to be mindful
absolutely.
that it's also about protecting others as well. Yeah.
It's a balance, isn't it? Like
Mm,
so many things.
yeah.
Um, I should just say as well that Michael Barrett was sentenced to prison time,
I should hope so.
um, only 27 months. He did plead guilty,
Yeah. That's
and
well, that
he
tends to
cried
help.
and he apologised.
Mm,
And then the judge gave him 27 months, which Erin Andrews said it isn't enough,
hmm.
and she had urged for a harsher sentence.
Yeah.
She says she fears for her life every time she enters a hotel, which you
Yeah.
can completely
You can
understand.
understand now. Yeah. You'd be very nervous, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Really, really nervous. So.
Yeah, her quote after the sentencing was, "You violated me, and you violated
Mm,
all women," which I think is very true, very hard hitting.
mm,
Um,
wow.
and yeah, but he still said, I'm so sorry," which I think maybe might have been more to do with um,
I mean,
being
I'm not even,
caught.
yeah, yeah. I'm not even going to say anything else because I think, yeah, we've covered it enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
yeah, I don't think that person deserves any more airtime. Thank you very much.
No, no.
But I think the
Um,
learnings from it are the big thing is that sadly we do have to be careful what we share. But it doesn't matter where we work. It doesn't matter what we are responsible for. You might be somebody working on a front desk somewhere, but we still have a responsibility to keep other people safe as well.
yeah, it's just
And
so
it is.
worrying, isn't
It
it?
is. Yeah.
I hadn't realised that it was I hadn't clicked that it was a Marriott as well, because it was a Marriott that you talked about when we
Yes, it
did the
was.
hotel hacker. I
It was.
think
Yeah.
that's episode 6, I think. So if you've not heard that one yet, do go back and listen to that.
Oh
But
yeah,
don't
that
let
one's
it put you
fascinating.
off hotels for
Nope.
life.
Nope. Because
Um,
as all of them was shown, things have been done to put in place and go from
yes,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Although, like I said at the end of that one, I do put a chair in front of the door still in a hotel. I might start covering up their peepholes as well.
well, I think you'll notice most hotels now have a little flip that goes
Yeah,
down so you can't look through from the other side
yeah.
anymore.
And how do you know that? Have you been trying to look?
No, I just have a memory that the
From the
insinuations
inside,
you were putting in
you've
here,
noticed that
Claire.
from the inside. Yeah,
The inside, not the outside,
yeah, not the
Claire.
outside. That's all right.
Yeah, so
Phew.
to clarify, folks, inside, not outside.
Good,
Don't.
good.
Yeah, but
The
do you know
other go on.
do you know what's fascinating though? Just a little side story to this.
Mm,
The technology that allowed that to happen was actually from memory. This is a bit of a real weird memory for me
mm,
of abstract history. Was a follow-on from the Cold War.
okay.
So they invented the ability to reverse a. So when you look for a peephole, you look through and you
Yeah,
see like a blurred image. You see like a
yeah,
wide image, don't you? So
yeah,
the lens that goes on the side reverses it, so you can see
yeah,
back the other way. Because
yeah,
obviously, if you're a spy and you want to see what's going on inside a room,
yeah.
so they would covertly replace the front of it and be able to record,
Right.
particularly in the Cold War when they were spying on people and things like that, and then they remove it and go
Wow.
from there. So it's if you think about it, that where all those small decisions that we make over time, the consequences of them are the unknown consequences sometimes of that. But that
Yeah,
technology never used to be available. It's like, well,
yeah,
even at this point, why would you be buying that technology unless you had a legal reason to use
yeah.
it?
Yes,
I
you're
don't
not going to
understand
be
you.
doing it for any
Yeah,
good
yeah.
reasons, are
No,
you?
no,
Yeah,
exactly. There's only 2 or 3 reasons you'd probably have that. One, you're a person that's testing these things to make sure that they can't be done. Or two, you're you're legally doing this through some legal reason to do this as well. Anybody
Yeah.
else outside of that, I'm going to go, have you got this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, there's a little side story. Just something I pulled from the annals of my mind there.
That's really interesting. I hadn't
Yeah,
even thought about
exactly.
sort of where that had come from.
There's lots of things that have sort of emanated from there.
Yeah. The other thing that really hits home with this story for me as well, not that I am comparing myself to a famous, very attractive young lady who's been the victim of stalking, but the fact that this is just awful. I'll read her quote. Erin Andrews said later on, I had to deal with a lot of people who said I deserved it, that I had played to a certain audience because of her being on the TV, basically.
Okay.
Because she was on the TV and she was a reporter, but she also went on Dancing with the Stars, so the US version of Strictly. And people said, well, that's, you're asking for it because you're putting yourself in the public eye. And that's just, again, that is something that we come up against, isn't it? That people say, I'm not going to go down the misogyny route because there's a whole other topic there. But that kind of thing of, well, it's in the public domain, or that person's in the public eye. So it's fair game, or they're fair game. And it's just not true.
Lots of people think that of anybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen you in public because you could think it's my right to go up and poke my nose into what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's actually not your right to go and do that. But, that's everybody feels that's how they are. But yes, it's a sad state of affairs, I think, is the honest truth.
But she was very, very brave. I think the fact, she put herself out there and she said she didn't want to seclude herself away from the public eye. She wanted other victims of this sort of thing to know that you just get out there and you live your life. And just want to end with another quote from her that she said, I did nothing wrong, just trying to live my life.
And that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to fear where you're staying or what you're doing because of that. But I think it goes back to this whole point again of just don't forget, if you are the person that's having to speak to somebody, if you are the person that ever has to be involved in this situation, that you're doing everything possible to protect those other people. Because as much as these podcasts aren't about privacy and about data in some ways, they also always hark back to that thought process that we're both passionate about. That it's your privacy. You should be able to feel safe and secure wherever you are.
And this story was the one that for me very much sums up that. What's the difference? The title.
I think this was the seed that actually.
I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You
what's the difference of giving out a room number? What's the difference of saying, "Oh yeah, she's staying here"?
Yeah. Or what difference
could it make?
Yeah. What difference could it make if making sure that person could be next to their work colleague?
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
And here we see the small detail with the huge impact.
It is absolutely. Well, thank you very much for that, Claire. I'm going to say it's interesting. I think it's also just very saddening as well. I'm really honest.
It is. It is.
That wasn't one where I'm going to go. Yeah. I think enough said. Thank you for the story, though.
Well, the positives that we can take from it is that Marriott did have to pay a huge amount of damages, and that will have definitely changed their thinking and their processes.
Yeah.
And the fact that Erin Andrews did stand up for herself and for all women that are victimized. And she said, I'm not going to hide myself away because of the actions of this man.
No,
and I think that's a great role model.
No, very much so indeed. Well, Claire, thank you very much. Well, that was What's the Difference podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Claire. And you can find us on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter. But most of all, if you have enjoyed this, please do subscribe so you get it in your podcast feed. And leave us a rating and a review.
Yes, please do. Thank you very much. And we will speak to you on the next one. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.